Hey, YouTube world. And again, my flipping phone rang, so now I have to record this all over again. Happy January the 26th to you. Hope you're wrapping up a great weekend. Let's not forget, I can be found all over the web. And guys, because I like instant projects, if you know someone who just needs a break and needs to do something relaxing, go on over to my other channel here on YouTube, Crafting with Six. Look up the supplies that it takes, because I don't use many supplies in my art projects. Some of them are so simple and so easy and so quick to make that you'll find yourself making more than one a day. I always find myself making more than one a day. So hop on over there. If you know someone who is sick in bed with the flu, if you know someone who is in the hospital and needs something to do to pass the time, my projects never require expensive supplies, so it's not that hard to do, and they're pretty much done within an hour. That's not my topic. Today's topic is, at what point are we considered grown? And I'm seriously asking that question because when I was a kid, we were considered grown at 18. And I have a daughter who's 25, one who's 28, and then I have my sons who are 15, almost 16, and 17. And my sons are very immature. They take after mama. Yes, I am wearing a pink poopy hat, and I am old as dirt. And when I say I'm old as dirt, let me tell you, I was around when the Dead Seas were just sick. So if you get that joke, comment below. Anyways, guys, at one point in our history, coming of age was 13. And now coming of age is 18. So I'm asking, at what point are we grown? At what point are we adults? Because I'm going to tell you, I missed out on my childhood when I was an actual child. So around me you see Lisa, and I'm sorry, I always mispronounce your name. I always say Liz for whatever reason. I don't know, because maybe it has to do with the dyslexia. But Lisa Frank, I absolutely love your artwork. And I tell you what, I have tons and tons and tons of your stickers here. And I am going to show the back of it so people can pronounce your name right even when I don't. Because Lisa Frank, I absolutely love your stuff. And I don't know if it's because I'm immature, because when I have to adult, I go into adulting kicking and screaming. Don't want to. I don't think anybody wants to. But here's the thing. My children are homeschooled and sheltered, and I watch them with their friends who, during different events throughout the school year, my children will interact with, and during the summer as well, they will interact with public school kids, and they interact with private school kids. And they are on the same mental wavelength, and it amazes me to watch these 16 and 17-year-old children, and I guess that's the key word, is children, acting like children. And I can't say anything because, you know, it's like, you see this beautiful wall behind me? I am so grateful to my husband for painting it blue, because I absolutely love my mermaids. I know the lighting does nothing for it, but it actually looks like they're underwater. And I love this that I've put here, this bright green wall. You can't see this behind me either, but I've actually put up a picture there of a bird scene. And so, you know, and I have my Liz Frank thing going on. And so it begs the question, you know, and I will, guys, if I didn't love my husband so much, I tell you what, I would still be dressing my Punky Brewster age, because, you know, I absolutely grew up in the age of Punky Brewster, loved the way she dressed. Absolutely loved the color non-coordination, if you know what I'm talking about, if you remember the Punky Brewster era and the way she dressed. I grew up wearing 2 different colored shoes. Right now, I'm wearing 2 totally different colored socks. It is an expression of my individuality and who I am and what I like. Now, again, back to the subject is, what age are we considered grown? Well, at 18, I'm not gonna just, which is a few short months for my 17-year-old son, I'm not gonna just pack his bags, put him on the other side of the door, and wish him luck. Although, let me tell you, being a ward of the state, being raised by the great state of Louisiana and the group homes therein, that's what they did us, with absolutely no knowledge of a goddamn thing. Pretty much everything I know is self-taught. Anyone who knows me knows that English is not my first language, and I do still struggle with it. But I was taught it at a very young age, so I do remember my native language, which is a mix of French and Spanish, but I also do not have an accent other than the Southern accent that I was became accustomed to and speaking because I was raised in Louisiana. But the thing is they taught us nothing. I mean, we went to the cafeteria because, like I said, I was a ward of the state, raised by the great state of Louisiana and the foster care system. And we went to the cafeteria for lunch. Our clothes were bought for us. Our bills were paid for us. And none of this stuff was discussed with us about, you know, if you don't pay a light bill, you know, clicko, you gets no lights. If you don't go buy groceries, El Starvo, you gets no food. They did not explain any of this to me. They didn't explain how to boil a flipping pot of water. They didn't explain how to wash clothes. They didn't do any of this shit. And though we went to, well, at first we went to school on campus. And then for our elementary life, and then for junior high, they kicked us off into a school called Sophie B. Wright, which was right across from the St. Elizabeth's that we were being raised in. And let me tell you guys, it was an experience, okay? Yes, we were abused, but not like you see on TV. We were neglected because the staff didn't give a shit about us, because at the end of the day, they went home and we didn't. But we weren't taught anything. And mentally, we didn't mature. So at 18, when they said, here's your birthday card with $10 in it, you know, and they set you on the other side of the door and you're looking at the world like, what now? And we weren't grown. I wasn't grown. Just because the state, the United States has now declared that 18 is the cutoff age, which I don't flippin' understand, because, okay, you're legally an adult at 18, but you can't do shit until 21. How does that work? And then they're trying to raise that age from 21 to 25. And studies now are more and more showing that the human brain is still developing from birth to 25. So technically, we are taking our young children and who still have undeveloped minds, and we're kicking them out into an unsuspecting world. But again, it raises the question, at what point are you grown? Because some of us are mature enough. Like I said, at 16, I had pretty much figured it out. So by the time I was 18, when they, handed me my card and my $10 and said bye, I had enough sense to go across the street from, at this point, I was staying in another group home. I was in a place called Milanese Girls Home. And I was not at St. Elizabeth's at that point. And across the street from Milanese was a homeless shelter. So I went from being a ward of the state and staying in the group home to being lost in the adult world of, now I'm going to a homeless shelter. Now, I had enough sense to go over there because I didn't want to sleep on the street. But let me tell you, once I got over there, there were people that were nice enough to go, look, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. And I said, okay, and I followed it. Well, lo and behold, I ended up getting an government subsidized housing, and where I'm from, they're called scatter sites. And so I ended up, here they're called Section 8s in Missouri. Where I'm from in New Orleans, they were called scatter sites. And I ended up living in an apartment complex. And, I was there rent-free for a little while. I had absolutely, guys, absolutely no idea how to take care of myself. I had absolutely no idea how to cook, how to start a washer. I had a friend of mine tell me to put on a pot of red beans. You know what my dumb ass did? I poured a half a pot of cooking oil, let it get hot, and poured a bag of red beans into it. I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. None. And so, because I went through that, I decided that I was not going to allow my children to grow up in such an oblivious state of mind. So as my children were younger and being homeschooled, they did have home economics. They did have community service. They did have such classes that taught them about light bills, rent, chores, running a washer and dryer. They had cooking class. Anybody who knows me will remember that, I've got pictures and videos of my children doing their homeschooling, their cooking classes. And now at 16 and, 15, almost 16 and 17, they can actually prepare an entire 5-course meal. They also know how to run a washer and a dryer. They know how to run a vacuum. They know that bills must be paid. I'm telling you guys, I was completely oblivious to this. I just thought, you flip a switch, the light came on. I had no idea there was a light bill associated with it. I was completely oblivious. These things were never discussed with us. They weren't taught in home. They weren't taught in the building school. And by the time I made it over to junior high, there was no such thing as home economics by the time, I was a child of the 80s. And home economics wasn't a thing anymore, and so I just didn't know. I didn't know. So, being grown, what does that mean? What does grown mean? Because I know 16-year-olds who could completely function in their own home. If you took my 16-year-old son, now he's not financially stable, but if you took him and put him in a situation like I had when I was 18, if you gave him an apartment where the rent and the light bill was paid, which being in the scatter sites, it was government housing, and it was paid. I mean, where I'm from, the government housing, they had two things that I remember. They had the projects in New Orleans, and they had scatter sites. Nowadays, they call it Section 8 and something else. I don't know, because it's been years since I've been a part of that program. But where I'm from, it was scatter sites and the projects. And I lived in a scatter site, and my apartment, it was rent free, and they also paid my light bill. I was responsible for, providing my own food, furniture, and everything else. And if you put my 16-year-old son in a situation like that, where the rent was paid and the light bill was paid, he could function, and he could hustle up enough money to buy his own food, and he could function and be just fine. Now, my 17-year-old, he could do it, but I think it would be more of a struggle for him, because my 16-year-old, he is out there. He's like me. He is just goofy, doesn't care what the world thinks, doesn't give a crap about your opinion. He's doing his own thing. He expresses through his dress and through his activities. And then my 17-year-old, he's a little more shy. He's a little more to himself. He struggles with social situations and things of that nature. And again, the 16-year-old could more function in a given situation, and I think the 17-year-old is more of he needs someone to support and back him, and pat him and let him know it's okay. Whereas the 16-year-old, he's the bird that if mama bird kicks him out of the nest, he's gonna fly. Now, the 17-year-old, he's gonna fly, but he's gonna struggle doing it. So, again, at what point do we look at someone and go, they're grown? Well, the law says we're supposed to look at an 18-year-old and go, they're grown. But are they really? I mean, seriously, are they really? When we now have studies saying that your brain is not fully developed. So how are you grown? I mean, you have not even reached a full state of physical and mental development, but yet we are deeming you as grown, and we are holding you accountable for things as grown. And that's a miracle word, huh? Like, grown, you've adulted. What the hell? I mean, again, I know 13, 14, 16-year-olds who are quite mature and can get this wonderful word of emancipated and go off into the world and take care of themselves. And that's great for some people. And even then, your brain is still not developed. So, I don't understand the great state of 18 is the miracle. You're an adult. We're going to cut your ass off. I'm no longer mandated to support you. And if you're getting government funding, such as a third check, or, if you're getting child support or whatever, this great age of 18 is cut their ass off age, but yet they can't go buy a damn pack of cigarettes. They can't sign a contract. They can't legitimately do any goddamn thing, and they can't drink a beer until they're 21 because they're not mentally mature enough. But wait, you just told them they were an adult at 18. So I don't understand. I'm completely confused as to how that works. And now they're trying to up that age to 25. So now we're saying that dependent children are not competent until they're 25. But wait, We're cutting these children off at 18. The government is cutting them off at 18. Child support is cutting them off at 18. Some parents are going, get your ass out at 18. If you're a ward of the state like I was, 18, get the hell out. But you're not competent enough to go have a beer. You're not competent enough to now buy tobacco products, because I believe tobacco products were raised from 18 to 21. So, but yet you're an adult. And legally in some states, you could be 13 and pregnant and they're not mandated to report it to your parents. But guarantee you, if something goes wrong during that pregnancy, your parents are flipping responsible. Welcome to the retarded states. Not the United States, no. We're the dumbass states, people. You know, America used to be great and they all joke about making America great again. We're too far gone. We're too far gone. Because our children are having children, and the people that are taking care of our flipping children aren't responsible for letting us know what's going on with our children, but we're held accountable if something tragic happens. The fuck? But anyway, and they're grown. Qua? You know, you want to hold somebody responsible for their daughter getting pregnant while they were on your watch. Well, if I send my daughter to school and she chooses to go fuck in the bathroom, I'm sorry, that's not my watch. And I don't blame the school for that either. I blame her and whoever she's pregnant for, because that was her choice as well as his choice. And I'm sorry that, you know, eyes can't be on this child 24/7. But yet, she is just a precious, oh my God, precious child that can go get medical help. And I'm responsible for the bill. But you're not responsible for telling me she's pregnant? Fuck you, I ain't paying that bill. How about that? She's grown, let her pay it. Because if she's not grown, then you're obligated to tell me what's going on. If I got to pay that bill and I'm still her caregiver, her guardian, her parent, then you're going to tell me what's going on. Because if you're not legally obligated to tell me, then I'm not legally obligated to just pay some flipping bill because you felt like giving it to me. I didn't feel like paying it. So, you know, again, all these questions, when are we considered grown? I mean, let's think about this. Should it go by your mental state? And some people, here's another thing, okay? You can have an autistic child, and I had a friend years ago in an apartment complex that I lived in who had an autistic son. And he couldn't walk. He just kind of scooted around on his butt, and precious guy he was. But if I remember right, he was 20, 22, somewhere around there. And he was nonverbal. He made noises like, he would laugh with you and things of that. And I'm not making fun of him by any means. He was just absolutely, I thought he was the greatest joy. But he was really nonverbal as far as words would go, and I think he was non-comprehending as far as things going on around him. He was incompetent. He was still in a diaper, or incontinent rather, not incompetent. He was incontinent. He was still in a diaper at, I want to say he was 22, but I'm not exactly sure. But I know he was over the age of 19. But And she was not allowed to leave him alone because he was not grown. So, you know, I want to say that in some severe situations, they will consider you grown but incompetent. So now I'm using the word right. See, I'll tell you guys, English was not my first language. But anyways, he was incompetent of taking care of himself. And so if she would have left him alone and he'd have got hurt or whatever, then she would have been, you know, jailed and criticized, and the same as leaving a 2-year-old child alone. But I don't understand. First off, who judges the mental state of another person and sets the bar at this is okay, but this isn't? And then in the state of Missouri, there is no legal age limit set forth for you to start leaving your children alone. So technically, if I left my child alone in the house at the age of 2, there's really not shit they could do about it, because there's no legal age limit going, okay, you know, home alone, legal age 13. There's none. So it is not okay for me to leave my 2-year-old in the state of Missouri alone in a car, and that's a legal thing. But in my home, and guys, don't bombard me with stupid ass comments because I don't have a 2-year-old. But in the state of Missouri, there is no age limit. So if you left your 2-year-old home alone, and they go, oh, well, it's all up to you, and you deem if they're mature enough and blah, blah. So I could technically go, hey, my 2-year-old's mature enough to make a bowl of cereals. I'm going to the store. I'll be back in an hour. And there's not shit they can do about it, because on the books, there is no set forth age limit like there are in some other states. And some other states will tell you the legal age limit to leave a child at home alone for up to 2 hours is 13. In the state of Missouri, they leave it up to you as the parent to determine the child's maturity level, and then, you know, make that determination yourself. However, when it comes to being an adult, if a child commits a crime at the age of 10, they are now trying them in adult courts, and I don't understand that. I don't understand how a child of this age in this situation can be deemed an adult, but a child of this age is not mature enough to understand paying a light bill. But this 10-year-old child can understand murder, and they've committed a crime, and we expect them to understand that. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because it is getting lengthy, but that is my topic, and that is my question. At what point are we considered grown? Because every individual is mentally and physically different, and we do all mature at different rates, and we do all mature at different styles and different stages of life. So that is my question and my topic for this video. At what point are we grown? You know, and again, like I said, your brain does not stop developing until you are between 23 and 25. So, and don't take my word on that. Feel free to Google it. Feel free to Alexa it. Feel free to, you know, look that up for yourself. Again, I can be found all over the web, guys, because if you're looking for something to do, Crafting with Six, hop on over there. Check out the videos, because I'm telling you, it is cold out there. And where I'm at, the snow is melting, so the ground is wet and slushy, and it is cold. And if you're staying in because it's the weekend and you need something to do, again, majority of my projects can be done with simple items you may have laying around the house. If you want to make a box shelf, and that's right, I said a box shelf, not a bookshelf, but you can turn that box shelf into a bookshelf. There's jewelry to be made. There's coloring to be made. Oh, let me show y'all something. Oh, this is some stuff my daughter made, and she is absolutely just amazing with some of the things she can do. She made this. It is absolutely amazing. So go on over there, check it out. I'm going to cover this up so you can't see my grandson's information, but she made this. And she makes this stuff by hand, guys. So she is, I tell you what, she is more crafty than I am, because she is just so good with the wood burning. And like I showed you the other day, she made my glasses for me. And it is just absolutely amazing the things she can do. So go on over to my group on Facebook and check her out. Her name is Beta T. And for safety and personal reasons, I'm not going to give out her real name any more than I give out mine. But if you would like to see some of the projects she's doing, head on over there, because I am going to put those, I am going to picture these and put them in the crafting group at some point today. But like I said, head on over there, check it out. Check me out on Instagram, because I'm over there. And I'm doing art projects over there too, guys. So, wrapping this up, to have a great weekend and get ready for a great new week, guys. Take care.